When dealing with a narcissist, it's critical to understand their mindset and the patterns of behavior that define them. Narcissists are individuals who possess an inflated sense of self-importance, a deep need for admiration, and a profound lack of empathy for others. They are often charming at first, able to win you over with their confidence and charisma, but these traits mask a more destructive personality beneath the surface. Understanding their psychology is the first and most important step in navigating any relationship with a narcissist, whether it's personal, professional, or familial. At the core of a narcissist's behavior is their need for validation. They are constantly seeking approval, admiration, and acknowledgement from others to reinforce their fragile self-esteem. This need is often insatiable, and no amount of praise will ever be enough. Narcissists are known for their grandiose self-image. They believe they are special or superior to others, and they expect the same acknowledgement from everyone around them. They may boast about their achievements, exaggerate their successes, or even fabricate stories to elevate their image in the eyes of others. This need for validation is so powerful that it often leads them to manipulate, deceive, or even exploit those around them. A narcissist will rarely hesitate to use others to achieve their goals. They may convince you that their success is your success, or that their failures are your responsibility. This manipulation often happens slowly over time, with subtle comments or actions that wear down your self-esteem, confidence, and sense of worth. The narcissist's goal is always to control the narrative, to ensure that they remain at the center of attention, and to keep you in a position where you are always seeking their approval. One of the most dangerous aspects of narcissism is their lack of empathy. Narcissists struggle to understand or relate to the emotions of others. They may seem distant or indifferent when you express your feelings or try to communicate your needs. This lack of empathy means they are often blind to how their actions hurt those around them. They may belittle your emotions, dismiss your concerns, or invalidate your experiences. In their world, their feelings and needs are the only ones that matter, and everyone else is just a tool to serve their own needs. Another key feature of narcissism is their tendency to gaslight those around them. Gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which a narcissist distorts the truth, denies reality, or tries to make you question your perception of events. A narcissist will use gaslighting to control the narrative, making you feel confused, insecure, or even insane. If you try to confront a narcissist about their behavior, they may accuse you of being overly sensitive, misinterpreting situations, or imagining things. The goal is to make you doubt your own reality, while they continue their toxic behavior unchecked. The narcissist's desire for control and power also extends to the way they interact with those around them. They may try to isolate you from friends, family, or other support systems, as they see any outside influence as a threat to their control. They may guilt-trip you, use emotional blackmail, or create situations in which you feel like you owe them something. They thrive on your dependency, and the more they can make you feel that you need them, the more power they hold over you. Narcissists are skilled at twisting the truth and manipulating situations to make themselves look like the victim, leaving you feeling guilty, confused, and trapped in a never-ending cycle of emotional turmoil. Recognizing these behaviors is the first step in protecting yourself from the toxic influence of a narcissist. When you understand how a narcissist thinks and operates, you can begin to distance yourself from their manipulation. Narcissists want to keep you in a state of confusion and dependence, where you are always second-guessing yourself and doubting your worth. Once you become aware of these tactics, you can start to see the red flags and take steps to guard your emotional well-being. It's important to remember that narcissists rarely change. Their behavior is deeply ingrained, and they will continue to operate from a place of self-interest and entitlement. They may promise to change to be better, or to acknowledge your feelings, but these promises are often empty. Narcissists are not interested in real self-improvement, they are only interested in maintaining the illusion of perfection. The sooner you accept that their behavior will not change, the easier it will be to set boundaries and protect yourself from further harm. In addition to understanding their mindset, it's also crucial to recognize that narcissists often exploit the kindness and empathy of others. They know that most people are caring and want to help, so they use this to their advantage. A narcissist may present themselves as someone in need of help, even though they are fully capable of solving their own problems. They play on your emotions and guilt you into giving them attention, time, and resources. Over time, this erodes your self-esteem and drains your emotional energy, leaving you feeling depleted, angry, and unfulfilled. One of the key things to understand about narcissists is that their need for admiration is insatiable. No matter how much attention you give them, it will never be enough. They may seem to demand constant praise, but they will never show you the same level of appreciation in return. They may take your kindness for granted, always expecting more while giving less. This unequal dynamic is draining and leaves you feeling underappreciated, but the narcissist remains oblivious to your feelings. Their world revolves around their needs, and your needs are secondary at best. The path to dealing with a narcissist begins with understanding the dynamics of their behavior. By learning to recognize the signs and patterns, you can begin to break free from their emotional manipulation. Understanding that their behavior is about control, not love, will empower you to set firm boundaries and protect your own emotional health. You don't have to accept the toxic behavior of a narcissist. Once you recognize the signs, you can begin to make choices that prioritize your own well-being over their need for validation. One of the most crucial steps in dealing with a narcissist is learning to set firm, healthy boundaries. Narcissists thrive on control, and they often push the limits of what you're willing to tolerate in order to maintain their power over you. They may manipulate, guilt trip, and even emotionally blackmail you into submitting to their demands. The key to regaining your sense of self and peace is to stop enabling this behavior and start setting clear boundaries that protect your emotional and mental well-being. Setting boundaries with a narcissist is not easy. Narcissists are master manipulators who are incredibly skilled at pushing your buttons and making you question your worth. They may even make you feel guilty for having boundaries in the first place, convincing you that you are being unreasonable or selfish. But the truth is, boundaries are essential for maintaining your mental health, and if you don't establish them, the narcissist will continue to take advantage of your kindness, patience, and empathy. To effectively set boundaries with a narcissist, it's important to first understand what a boundary is. A boundary is a clear and firm limit on what behavior you are willing to tolerate and what behavior is unacceptable. It is an agreement with yourself that you will no longer allow anyone, especially a narcissist, to overstep these limits without consequences. Boundaries can be emotional, physical, mental, or even spiritual. They are about defining your own space and protecting it from the intrusion of others, particularly those who seek to manipulate or control you. When you set boundaries with a narcissist, it is crucial to be clear and consistent. A narcissist may try to test your limits by pushing back against your boundaries or by ignoring them altogether. They might argue with you, invalidate your feelings, or attempt to make you feel guilty for enforcing your limits. But you must stand firm in your decisions. If you give in to their pressure, they will see it as an opportunity to continue their manipulative tactics. By being consistent and resolute in your boundaries, you are sending a clear message that you will no longer tolerate their toxic behavior. It's also important to understand that setting boundaries doesn't require you to explain yourself. Narcissists will often demand explanations for why you are setting boundaries, trying to make you feel like you owe them a justification for your actions. But the reality is, you don't owe them any explanation. A simple statement such as "I am no longer willing to tolerate this behavior" is sufficient. The narcissist may try to argue or reason with you, but you don't need to engage in that conversation. The boundary is the boundary, and no amount of explaining will change that. Narcissists will often use your explanations as an opportunity to manipulate you, so it's best to keep your responses simple and firm. One effective way to maintain boundaries is by learning to detach emotionally from the narcissist's behavior. Narcissists thrive on emotional reactions because they use your emotions as a tool for control. When you react emotionally to their manipulation, it gives them power over you. By learning to stay calm and detached, you take away their ability to provoke you. This doesn't mean you need to be cold or unfeeling. It simply means you choose not to let their behavior dictate your emotional state. By maintaining emotional detachment, you are able to enforce your boundaries without being swayed by the narcissist's attempts to break them. In addition to emotional detachment, another powerful technique is the use of the gray rock method. This method involves responding to the narcissist in a neutral, non-reactive way, as if you were a gray rock, boring, uninteresting, and emotionless. The goal is to take away the narcissist's ability to provoke a strong reaction from you. If the narcissist is trying to engage you in an argument or manipulate you, instead of reacting with frustration or anger, you respond in a way that offers little to no emotional reward for them. For example, if they accuse you of something, instead of defending yourself or getting upset, you simply reply with something like, "That's your opinion," and then move on. By being unresponsive to their emotional tactics, you deprive them of the power they seek. Another important strategy is learning to say no without feeling guilty. Narcissists often try to pressure you into agreeing to things that are not in your best interest. They may use guilt, flattery, or even threats to manipulate you into compliance. But the truth is, saying no is one of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal. It's a statement of your autonomy and your right to control your life and decisions. When you say no to a narcissist, you are asserting your boundaries and showing them that you will no longer be manipulated. This may be difficult at first, especially if you've been conditioned to please others, but the more you practice saying no, the easier it becomes. Remember, you are not responsible for the narcissist's feelings or reactions. You are only responsible for your own well-being. Setting boundaries also means recognizing when it's time to walk away. If a narcissist continues to disrespect your boundaries, it may be necessary to distance yourself from them entirely. This is not about punishing the narcissist, but about protecting yourself. Sometimes the best way to enforce a boundary is to remove yourself from a situation where your boundaries are being violated. This can be especially difficult if the narcissist is a family member, partner, or someone with whom you have a long history. But ultimately, your peace of mind and emotional health must come first. If the narcissist is unwilling to respect your boundaries, it may be time to let go of the relationship. In addition to setting firm boundaries, it's essential to focus on self-care and self-compassion. Narcissists have a way of draining your energy and making you feel unworthy or inadequate. It's important to reconnect with your own value and worth, regardless of what the narcissist may say or do. Take time for yourself to engage in activities that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Practice mindfulness, meditation, or any other techniques that help you stay grounded and centered. Surround yourself with people who respect you and support your boundaries, and seek out professional help if needed. By taking care of yourself, you'll build the emotional resilience needed to maintain healthy boundaries with a narcissist. Ultimately, the most powerful step in dealing with a narcissist is recognizing that you have control over your life. Narcissists thrive when they can make you feel small, unworthy, or powerless. But by setting and enforcing boundaries, you take back your power. You become the one in control of how you respond, what you tolerate, and the energy you allow into your life. By setting boundaries with narcissists and practicing emotional detachment, you protect yourself from their toxic influence and create the space needed for true healing and growth. When dealing with a narcissist, one of the most important and powerful strategies is learning how to emotionally detach. Narcissists thrive on control, and they use emotional manipulation to gain that control. The more reactive and emotionally involved you become, the more they feed off your energy, using your emotions to maintain power. Emotional detachment, however, is the ability to disengage from their tactics and no longer allow their actions to dictate your emotional state. It doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent, but rather it means not letting their behavior affect your sense of self or peace. The first step in emotional detachment is understanding why you feel the way you do. When narcissists manipulate, belittle, or insult you, it is easy to internalize their behavior. They project their issues onto you, make you feel guilty or ashamed, and create confusion that can leave you questioning your own worth. However, it's important to recognize that their behavior is a reflection of their inner dysfunction, not a reflection of you. They are projecting their own insecurities, fears, and needs onto you in an attempt to elevate their own sense of self-importance. When you understand this, it becomes easier to detach emotionally because you begin to recognize that you are not the source of their anger or manipulation. They are. The process of emotional detachment involves creating a barrier between the narcissist's behavior and your own emotional state. When a narcissist tries to provoke you with insults, criticism, or dismissiveness, instead of responding with anger or defensiveness, you can choose to remain calm and neutral. This requires self-awareness and the ability to take a step back before reacting. Instead of engaging in the emotional drama they're trying to create, you make a conscious choice to protect your peace by not getting involved in their game. The key to emotional detachment is recognizing that you cannot control the narcissist's actions, but you can control your reactions. Narcissists often try to provoke emotional reactions to validate their own inflated egos or to manipulate you into doing their bidding. When you stop reacting emotionally to their behavior, you deprive them of their primary source of control. This doesn't mean ignoring them or pretending their actions don't matter, but rather it means not letting their words or behavior dictate your sense of self-worth or your emotional state. It's also essential to recognize that emotional detachment isn't about becoming numb or apathetic. Emotional detachment involves acknowledging your emotions but choosing not to let them be controlled by external forces. It's about recognizing your worth regardless of how a narcissist treats you, and understanding that their behavior is a reflection of their own struggles, not your inadequacies. Detachment is an empowering act because it allows you to take control of your emotional life and prevents the narcissist from having any influence over your peace of mind. Another important component of emotional detachment is limiting your engagement with the narcissist. Narcissists often thrive on attention, and when you give them the emotional reactions they seek, you are essentially feeding into their need for validation. It's important to minimize unnecessary interactions with them and, if possible, establish clear boundaries that limit your contact. By reducing the frequency of your interactions, you decrease the opportunities for them to manipulate your emotions. In many cases, the narcissist may try to draw you back into their web by using guilt, charm, or passive-aggressive behavior. They may attempt to make you feel sorry for them or suggest that you are being unreasonable for wanting emotional space. When this happens, it's essential to remain firm in your boundaries and continue practicing emotional detachment. If necessary, distance yourself from the narcissist entirely, as maintaining any connection may allow them to continue manipulating you. This doesn't mean being harsh or unkind, it simply means recognizing that your well-being is more important than trying to please or fix someone who is unwilling to change. One of the most powerful ways to emotionally detach is by focusing on self-care and self-validation. Narcissists often try to make you feel as if you are inadequate or unworthy, but when you practice self-love and care, you build your own self-worth independent of their validation. Take time to nurture your body, mind, and spirit through activities that bring you joy, peace, and fulfillment. Practice mindfulness, meditation, journaling, or any other form of self-reflection that helps you stay centered and connected to your own sense of identity. Detaching emotionally from a narcissist also involves recognizing when you are being triggered. Narcissists often know exactly how to push your buttons and make you feel upset or insecure. However, it's important to be aware of these triggers so that you can prevent them from affecting your emotions. When you are triggered, take a moment to breathe, step back, and refocus. Instead of reacting in anger or frustration, consciously choose not to engage. Over time, the more you practice emotional detachment, the less power these triggers will have over you. Another key aspect of emotional detachment is recognizing that you do not owe the narcissist an explanation or justification for your decisions. Narcissists often demand explanations for everything, and when you try to explain your feelings or actions, they will twist your words to serve their own agenda. This is part of their manipulation strategy. Instead of defending yourself or trying to explain why you're setting boundaries or distancing yourself, simply assert your limits and walk away if necessary. You do not owe them an explanation. By doing this, you reclaim your power and reduce the narcissist's ability to control the narrative. Lastly, emotional detachment from a narcissist means understanding that the process of detaching can be difficult and may require time. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes practice, patience, and self-compassion. You might slip up and react emotionally to their behavior, and that's okay. The key is to be gentle with yourself and recognize that detachment is a journey. Each time you choose not to engage with their manipulation, you are making progress toward regaining your emotional freedom. In summary, emotional detachment from a narcissist is one of the most effective tools for protecting your well-being. By taking responsibility for your emotional state and refusing to let the narcissist control your feelings, you regain control over your life. Setting boundaries, practicing self-care, and focusing on your own well-being are powerful ways to ensure that the narcissist's behavior no longer holds power over you. Emotional detachment isn't about being cold or distant, it's about maintaining your peace and emotional health in the face of manipulation. The more you practice emotional detachment, the more you empower yourself to live a life free from the toxic influence of a narcissist. In conclusion, learning to emotionally detach from a narcissist is not just a powerful tool for self-preservation, but also a transformative process that allows you to regain control over your own emotional life. Narcissists will often try to manipulate, belittle, or provoke you to create a sense of dependence, but by understanding that their behavior is a reflection of their internal struggles rather than your worth, you can begin to break free from their control. Emotional detachment isn't about indifference or numbing your feelings, but rather about recognizing that you are the one who controls how you respond to their actions. By setting firm boundaries, refusing to be drawn into their drama, and focusing on self-care and self-validation, you empower yourself to reclaim your emotional well-being. It's important to remember that detachment is a journey. It won't happen overnight, but with time, patience, and consistent effort, you will build resilience and strength. The key to detaching emotionally is not just about protecting yourself from a narcissist's influence, but also about creating a life where you prioritize your own peace and happiness. You do not have to internalize their negativity or let their behavior dictate how you feel. By practicing emotional detachment, you make the conscious choice to protect your energy, preserve your mental health, and move forward with a sense of self-respect. At the end of the day, you deserve to live in a space where your emotional peace is respected and your boundaries are honored. Detaching from a narcissist doesn't mean abandoning compassion. It simply means choosing to protect your heart and mind from someone who cannot value you the way you deserve. Take back your power, stand firm in your boundaries, and never allow someone else's dysfunction to control your life.